Finally, we opened up a bank account in France. How did we do it? Stay tuned and I'll let you know. Hi, I'm Jason. Sarana is here, but there are some details I want to share with you about opening a bank account. We finally did it. And there's a lot of things that I need to explain, and that's why I'm here doing this video on my own. Now, there might be some things that I miss and some details that you're curious about. Be sure to leave a comment, and I'll address those as soon and as quickly as I can. But the most important thing is that, yes, it is possible to open a bank account from the United States for an account in France. And how do we do that? Well, let's go ahead and go through the steps. Now, first of all, you might be asking, well, why do you even need a bank account? Why do you need to open one? Well, there are three very specific reasons why you will need a bank account in France. Now, first of all, it is going to help you to get an apartment. That's the main reason that we were asked to open a bank account. And when I say asked, we have a real estate person working with us in France to locate an apartment with us. And this is one of the key ingredients in what's called the apartment dossier. And in order for you to get familiar with that, go ahead and Google the terms rental dossier in France. It's something basically that you will have to build in order to show your worthiness of renting an apartment in France. And having a French bank account is one of the things that looks really good in your dossier. Is it possible for you to rent an apartment without a French bank account? Of course. But it looks a lot better if you have a French bank account. So that's the first reason, renting an apartment. The second reason why you will need a French bank account is because all your utilities, we're talking electricity, gas, water, phone, cell phone, all of those typically are paid through your French bank account. And so that's the second reason why you will need a French bank account. The third reason why I believe you will want to open a French bank account is so you can get used to sending money from your United States account over into a French bank account. It's a tricky process, but once you get used to it, then it'll be a lot easier. And so that's the third reason why I believe you would benefit from opening a French bank account. People say it's impossible. I'm proof that it is not impossible. I'm very happy to say that we opened up a French bank account with the bank BNP Paribas. Wonderful people who specifically work with international people, basically. And if you'd like a link in order to do the same thing, I'll provide a link in the description of this video. The very first thing you need to do is make a contact. You will want to open up an account specifically for non-residents, people who are not living in France. You can Google the term BNP Paribas non-resident account. It's a little tricky in order to find it, and that's why I'll leave a link. You first of all need to make contact. And by making contact, that means you give them their information. You let them know, what you're trying to do. You're trying to open an account, and then you provide some details on how they can contact you. And so that's the first thing you do. You fill out a contact or request for information, a request. That's the first thing I did. And after I did that, waited, I think it was like a day, or maybe it was even 2 days, someone actually from France called me, and I know because it had a 33 country code at the beginning, and I said, what is happening here? Am I actually getting a call from France? I picked it up, and there was a very nice person on the other end who spoke English who wanted to get additional information from me. Now, the most important thing that they will want to know from you is, where do you plan to live? Why is that important? They want to know where you plan to live because they will put you in contact with a person at a bank in that area who's going to be working with you. Let's say, for example, you plan on living in Paris. Well, they will find a specific branch with a person who deals with international people who can best meet your needs. And so that's why it's very important that you have an idea, a pretty solid idea of where you're going to live, because you will be working directly with the person in that area. And so I forgot what else they asked me. I think they asked me, like, why do I want an account? And I told them because we're moving to France. And I don't remember what the other questions were, but it was a very simple sort of conversation that I had with this person. Wonderful people. And then, as you guys might have known, we did a little like update on our progress video. We waited several days and didn't hear anything. And I forget what happened. I think I sent another request trying to figure out what's going on. Why haven't I heard from anyone? And I eventually was able to receive an email from someone who asked, who told me actually that don't worry, I see your information. It's still in the works. And I guess this is part of what we've been told about things taking a little bit longer in France. And so, as an American, of course, I'm a little bit impatient. And I think I sent another email. But, just a little bit persistent I was. I don't want to say I was bugging them, but I was really interested in opening an account. And so ultimately, I was finally put in touch with the nicest gentleman who speaks English, by the way. And he called me and eventually we, established connection through email. And he was very fast to answer the emails. And this person was specifically in the city of the area where we plan to move. And we'll reveal where that is a little bit later. But for now, we were put in touch with this nice gentleman. And so the process of opening a French bank account, the very first thing you have to know is that there is a lot of paperwork. There were, I think, 6 different forms I had to fill out, and very detailed forms. And this is where I really want to stress the fact that, and I don't work for Apple or anything like that, but I want to stress the fact that when you receive these forms, to fill them out on an iPad. And if you don't know, iPad has the capability of allowing you to fill out forms. And what you do is you download them into your cloud storage, a little technical here. You put them in your files. Files is basically the folder that lives in the Apple server and that you can only access. And so you'll download the forms into the Files app. And basically you fill them out. I'll give you a little demonstration here on the screen. When you fill them out in Files, it allows you to complete the fields and, put in the information that's requested, and then you save it in the file. The reason I'm telling you this is because ultimately when I had all of the forms filled out, the representative at BNP Paribas would tell me, okay, well, this is wrong. You have to change this. You have to change that. Instead of completing a whole new form, I just went back to the same form that I had saved, and I would correct a field that needed to be corrected. It might just be one word was wrong. Well, you don't want to complete an entirely new paper just for one word. And so I would erase the word and put in the correct word. And this happened, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 times, where I would get an email and it said, okay, this is wrong, fix this. Okay, fill out another form. No, go to my iPad and just change that one word. And I get another email. Okay, this is wrong. Oh no, fill out a new form. No, just change the one word. And so thank you to my iPad and the people at Apple who made this process so much easier. And if you don't know how to do this, or if you don't have an iPad, borrow one from someone, because the iPad made the job of completing these forms so much easier. And I just want to stress that if you're able to, please complete them on an iPad. Don't write it out. I mean, you could write it out on the form, and then if you make a mistake, white it out and rescan it. But I didn't need to scan anything because the form lives inside my Files app. I know this is kind of nerdy, but everything is there inside my Files app. And so, hey, make a mistake, go into the document, change it, email it. Okay, still wrong. Okay, no problem. I still have it. Change this other thing, email that. It made the process so much easier. If you're interested in looking at these forms, send me an email and I'll be happy to send you them so that you can look at them in advance. The one thing that I should mention, the one of the most difficult things to get was a letter from the bank. They actually request that you get a letter from your bank, and it's called letter of good renown, which basically means you have a good sort of relationship with your bank. They want to know, how long you've had the bank open, if you're a good customer, that kind of thing. And our bank was only able to say, the date that we opened the account, if the account was in good standing, and they verified our name and address. That was it. They couldn't say anything like, "Oh, these are the best customers in the world." They can't say that, of course, but they can let the people at BNP Paribas know how long we've had the account. And I realized as I was sort of sending that letter that this might not be good enough. BNP Paribas, they're interested in knowing that you're going to be a good customer. And so I did something maybe, you can consider, but I actually downloaded a copy of my credit report from one of the credit bureaus. And I'm pretty proud of it. We've kept some pretty good records. And I explained to the person when I emailed it that, my bank was not able to say that we're good customers, but here's a copy of what we use in America. It's called a credit report, and you can see how long I've had my accounts and that we pay our bills on time, all of that information. So I sent that just in case. I don't know if they even looked at it, but I sent it just in case. I have nothing to hide. Here, take a look at this. And so that is one of the most difficult things, actually going into your bank and getting a letter. And there are some other forms, some tax forms you have to fill out. And then there's a bank opening form. That was pretty difficult. But the person that I was working with at BNP Paribas, he walked me through everything I needed to do. I made some mistakes very clearly, quite a few of them, but he helped me correct those mistakes. And ultimately, the account was opened. So, wonderful thing. Now, there are some things I should mention. Now, if you open up an account with BNP Paribas, they do have some requirements. And this is the thing that might cause a little bit of difficulty for you. But they do ask, if you're an individual opening up an account, they ask that you keep a minimum of 10,000 euros in that account. The gentleman told me for at least 3 months. And so we had to figure out a way to deposit 10,000 euros in that account. And how did we do that? Well, we have an account with Wise. Wise has been a wonderful thing to have. So if you do not have an account with Wise, then you're going to want to think about getting one. And the reason I say that is because Wise allows for better communication from an American bank account to a French bank account. Basically, you can deposit money into Wise, and then I use that to deposit money into my brand new account with BNP Paribas. And the deposit, I swear, it takes just about maybe half an hour. It's not even that long. After you transfer the money from your American bank account into Wise, it takes maybe a day or two. I'm not even sure, maybe even less than that. But the transfer into the French bank account just took seconds. I don't know how that, maybe a few minutes, but it made the process a lot easier. And so that's how we're going to proceed as far as transferring money. Obviously, I'm going to get some money from America, and because I'm moving to France as a retiree, I get some retirement money, and so that goes into my American bank account, and then I'm going to transfer that to Wise, and then from Wise into the French bank account. So that's my plan as far as how I'm going to pay my rent and utilities in France. The other thing that the representative asked is that after we actually arrive in France and we get an apartment, he requested that we get our rental insurance through them. And so 2 requirements. Number 1, have at least 10,000 euros on deposit. And number 2, request rental insurance through BNP Paribas. Now, I do want to mention also, after I opened the account, there were some technical issues. Like I was on my computer and the guy was so nice. I'm just talking to him. He actually, what did he do? He opened up a Teams sort of chat. And Teams is almost like Zoom, where I could show him my computer screen and he can walk me through, do this, do that. So very nice guy. And ultimately, it wasn't working on the computer and he had to call some technical people. But after I hung up, I tried it on my cell phone I downloaded the app for BNP Paribas, and it worked on my cell phone. And I needed to change, um, what was it? I needed to change my phone number or something. It was some technical thing like that. I needed to update the phone number in order for me to access the app, but ultimately I was able to do it on my cell phone. And so that means I have the app from the bank right on my phone. It even has Face ID. I just show my face and my French account opens. You should know that the app is in French. And so if you go to the computer, it's a little easier because you can very easily just translate the web page into English. But if it's on your app, get used to looking at some French because it's not in English, and that's okay. Maybe you should get used to reading and understanding French, especially related to your money. But in any case, it's opened, and I'm very, very happy about that. In fact, they sent an account opening statement and deposit statements to me here in America. And we live in Los Angeles. And so understand that this is, you're opening up, everyone knows it's an international account. You live in America and you're opening up an account in France. Now, the cool thing, though, is that after you live in France for a number of months, you can convert it over into a resident account. But if you do that, I was explained, you will not have the benefit of being able to speak and work with someone in France who speaks English. And so that's the only thing that you should be aware of. You can certainly switch it to a residential account, but do you really want to? Because you're going to miss out on being able to communicate with someone in English. And you might be fine with that. It's up to you, of course. And I should say, having a relationship with someone at the bank is a good thing. A really nice guy who we worked with and was very helpful. So we do have nothing but good things to say about BNP Paribas. And so very happy about that. And they provided all of the information we needed. You're going to need like to have your, what's called an RIB information about your French bank account that you need to have in your rental dossier. And so now we have that. We're very, very happy about that. And so if people tell you that opening up an account from America in France is impossible, it's not. Painful, sure, but not impossible. And so I am more than happy, we are more than happy to answer whatever questions you have. If you'd like to see those documents, an example of those documents, send an email and I'll be happy to share those with you. The link in order to establish first contact with BNP Paribas, I'll put in the description of this video because you have to request that someone contact you in order to begin the process. And so that's the first thing you want to do. Make contact. And finding it, I'll be quite honest, is a little bit difficult if you're just trying to search it on the web. A little bit difficult, I know, because I tried, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. And so that's why I will put a link to that specifically. But yeah, we're very, very happy about that. And the other thing that I want to mention is that another thing that we included in our rental dossier, you almost have to create your own dossier for these people. Garanteme is a company who was recommended to us, and we have their information included in our apartment rental dossier. They're a company, basically, they ensure that you will be able to pay your rent. So it's not like rental insurance, the kind that protects your damages and all that stuff. This is insurance that protects your rent payment. And you almost have to sort of give them the same kind of information that you need in order to open up the French bank account, but it's not that difficult. And Garanteme, they're going to want to know information about your finances. They're going to want to know, in my case, actually, they wanted our marriage certificate because you're counted as one. If you're renting an apartment and you're married, then they only count that as one toward any fees that you pay. And I'm mentioning them because they also, after you are certified, meaning, they will guarantee that you are able to pay your rent. They also provide listings of apartments. in whatever area that you're going to be going to. And I'm mentioning them, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but wonderful people at Garanteme. And they are so fast to respond to any concerns that you might have. So, a couple of things that you may need in order to rent an apartment. Number one, French bank account is extremely helpful, and now you have information on how to do that. And number two, Garanteme is another thing that you can put inside your rental dossier, a company that guarantees that you will be able to pay your rent. Wonderful people. I highly recommend. I'll put a link to them and their services also in the description of this video. So there you have it. Not impossible opening up a French bank account. A quick little status update. We are very close to moving to France. We plan on going sometime in June. I'll have you know that we have our visa appointment in a week. In a week. A little bit nerve-wracking, but we have all of the paperwork that we need in order to bring to our visa interview. And so we'll have another video about that very soon, but a lot of paperwork we had to put together. And you might have been told from other YouTubers, but make sure all your paperwork is in order and organized before you go in. And make sure you cross all your T's, dot all your I's, because this is the big time, baby. This is the one that really matters. And so we'll let you know how that goes as soon as we can. We hope you have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you very soon. If you have any other questions, any other concerns, things that I did not mention that you want to know about, please comment. And whatever limited experience we have in this sort of arena, I'll be happy to share with you. But look for the link, again, to make the contact. And also look for a link if you're interested in securing the services of Garanteme in the description of this video. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.